Daniko was no ordinary goat. His fur shimmered like silver. His horns curved like the crescent moon. He lived in the Wildlands, a place of magic and wonder. Daniko was very curious. He loved to explore. Every rock, every tree, every creature held a secret. Daniko wanted to know them all. One day Daniko found a hidden cave. He went inside. The air grew cold. Strange symbols glowed on the walls. Daniko felt a shiver of excitement. Daniko was not afraid. He was a brave goat. He knew the Wildlands held many mysteries. He wanted to uncover them all. That night a storm raged. Thunder shook the ground. Lightning turned the sky white. Daniko had never seen such a storm. He huddled in his den. A bolt of lightning struck nearby. Daniko jumped. Something lay on the ground, glowing faintly. It was a medallion, round and gold. It was warm to the touch. As Daniko watched, a single word appeared on it: lead. Daniko's heart pounded. What did it mean? He had so many questions. He knew he had to find answers. Daniko set out to find Roo the raven. Roo was the wisest creature in the Wildlands. He lived at the top of the tallest mountain. The climb was long and hard. Daniko did not give up. He was determined to speak to Roo. Finally, he reached the top. Roo perched on a rock, his feathers black as night. "You seek knowledge, little goat," he croaked. "The medallion!" Daniko bleated. "What does it mean?" Roo looked at him with wise old eyes. "To lead, you must first be worthy. Find Tajo the turtle. He will test your strength." Daniko found Tajo by a rushing river. Tajo was very old and very slow, but he was also very strong. "The raven sent you," Tajo rumbled. "He speaks of leadership. But do you have the strength?" He pointed with his head. A huge boulder lay beside the river. "Move this," Tajo said, "and you will have passed the first test." Daniko took a deep breath. He lowered his horns and pushed. The boulder didn't budge. Daniko pushed harder. He would not fail. Section 5. Tajo's Test. Daniko pushed with all his might. His legs trembled, his head spun, but slowly the boulder started to move. Inch by inch, Daniko pushed the boulder. He thought of the Wildlands. He thought of the animals he had to protect. Finally, with one last heave, the boulder rolled away. Daniko collapsed, exhausted but triumphant. He had passed the test of strength. "Well done," Tajo rumbled. "You have the strength of a leader. Now go back to Roo. He will give you the next test." Section 6. The Trial of Wisdom. Daniko made his way back to Roo. The raven was waiting. "Strength is important," he croaked, "but wisdom is more so. Answer my riddle and you will prove your worth." Daniko listened carefully. Roo's riddle was tricky. It made Daniko think long and hard. "What has no voice but can still speak?" Roo asked, his eyes gleaming. Daniko looked around at the mountains and the sky. He thought of the wind and the trees. Then it hit him. He knew the answer. Daniko took a deep breath and spoke. "A book!" he bleated confidently. Section 7. The Heart of a Leader. Roo nodded slowly. "Indeed," he croaked, "a book has no voice, but its stories can teach us many things. You have wisdom, little goat." Daniko felt a surge of pride. He had passed the second test, but he knew there was one more to go. "The final test is not mine to give," Roo said, his voice softer now. "It is the test of heart, and only you can face it." Daniko felt a pang of fear. The test of heart sounded daunting, but he knew he had to face it. For the sake of the Wildlands, he would be brave. Section 8. The Trial of Heart. Daniko returned to the heart of the Wildlands. The storm had passed, leaving the forest quiet and still. He looked at the medallion in his hooves. "Lead," it said. But what did it mean to be a leader? Suddenly he understood. A true leader wasn't just strong or wise. A true leader cared for his people. A true leader brought them together. Daniko knew what he had to do. He had to unite the creatures of the Wildlands. He had to bring them together as one. Section 9. King Daniko. Daniko called a meeting of all the animals. They came from far and wide, curious and a little afraid. Daniko stood on a high rock so all could see him. He spoke of the medallion, of the trials, of his vision for the Wildlands. He spoke of unity and cooperation. He spoke of protecting the weak and helping those in need. His words resonated with the animals. They cheered his name and pledged their loyalty. Daniko, the goat with silver fur and moon-shaped horns, was crowned king of the Wildlands. Under his wise and compassionate leadership, the Wildlands flourished. And so the legend of Daniko, the king who united the Wildlands, was passed down through generations.